in the front page with a headline which read, "Professor Sherman in wrong ocean with too many balloons," and the subheading, "Refuses to explain how or why." These two stories were enough to excite the curiosity of millions, and Professor Sherman, in his bed at the Murray Hill, suddenly found himself to be the center of a considerable amount of the attention of the world. Continuing my review of the Newbery Award winners, today we have The 21 Balloons by Willian Pène du Bois, which won the award in 1948. William was born in 1916 in Nutley, New Jersey. His father was an artist, and when he was 8, his family moved to Europe, returning to the US when he was 14. William, known as Billy, attended a boarding school during the week where his French teachers insisted on precision and neatness, skills that he carried into his career as an artist and an author. Weekends with his sister and his family were quite stark differences to his days in the boarding school, and every Saturday during the winters they would go to a circus. Billy also had a friend whose parents worked in a circus, so the circus and the performers made a really big impact on him. Billy was planning on attending college, but his parents had to inform him that they couldn't afford to send him. He knew he wanted to be an illustrator and an author, and he knew he could do that without a degree, so he set out to make his way in that career. He published his first book when he was only 19. He served in World War II and actually wrote The 21 Balloons during his service. Obviously, this won him the Newbery Medal, but he also wrote and illustrated 2 books that won Caldecott honors. This book opens with Professor William Waterman Sherman being found floating in the Atlantic Ocean amidst wreckage of all of these hot air balloons. He had been a mathematics teacher and was kind of worn down with the daily grind of teaching math and caring for students, and so he retired and created a self-sustaining hot air balloon that he would be able to stay aloft and pack food and water in such ways that it would last him at least a year. So he refuses to tell anybody what has happened until he can report to the Western American Explorers Club, the organization he belongs to, and explain what happened. He felt like they deserved first chance. The president actually sends a train to get him from the East Coast to the West Coast, and there is a massive group of people waiting there with bated breath to find out what happened on his trip. He tells about the development of his balloon, and then how a seagull actually broke through the balloon, and then he was shot down and landed on the island of Krakatoa. It turns out that there is a secret colony on Krakatoa. They actually shot him down because if he had gone over, he would have seen the civilization there and might have drawn attention and brought other people to the island. So they tell him he is now a permanent guest. Much of the middle of the book is them explaining the society and the culture that has developed here and why they've built it up the way that they have. They also have a contingency plan in case things go bad on the island. And of course, shortly after Professor Sherman arrives there, Krakatoa does in fact explode, which is actually a historical event that Pène du Bois is using. And everybody on the island gets on a massive multi-platform, multi-balloon escape ship and manages to escape. He was the last one to stay on as they all slowly parachuted off, and that is how he ended up crashing in the Atlantic Ocean. I did find a lot of things in this really interesting. I like the description of his balloon and how he was planning on making it stay afloat. The society is a little bit odd, but also interesting. However, as I was thinking back on it, as I was writing this review, I realized that there's not a lot that actually happens. I enjoyed it, but I did wonder how many children would get bored before they actually get to the adventure, because there are chapters at the beginning of them preparing for his speech. Overall, I thought it was an entertaining book. There are a few things that show its age, but nothing super egregious. Next up, we have King of the Wind by Marguerite Henry. I know that my sister read a bunch of Marguerite Henry, but I honestly am not sure if I've ever read one, so I'm looking forward to this. Thanks and happy reading!